29 states in Nigeria have recorded heavy rainfall with more than 300 people killed, over 100,000 others displaced by floods. The National Emergency Management Agency is advising communities in the riverine areas to move upland. Arise correspondent Georgina Ndukwe Izanyika has details.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has in the last few months disclosed that the prevailing weather patterns in the country will cause above normal rainfall in about 19 states between August and October this year. And as predicted, most states are already experiencing above normal rainfall, with over 500,000 persons already affected. At this emergency meeting with stakeholders to address the flood situation, the National Emergency Management Agency is asking Nigerians to get prepared as neighboring Cameroon has commenced the release of water from its Lagdo Dam and as such will further complicate the situation in Kainji, Jeba and Shiroro dams, which may then spill excess water between now and October.
We will continue working with the Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency, NISA, and the Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, to downscale impact-based weather forecasts to the public as the extreme weather event unfolds. All NEMA staff on leave have been recalled back to the office in view of the present emergency situation. Search and rescue equipment, including those recently inducted, have been deployed to the most affected states.
NEMA says it has already deployed search and rescue equipment to worst affected states, while calling on governments of frontline states within the flood-prone areas to evacuate affected communities to higher grounds and stockpile adequate emergency supplies ahead of possible flooding this year.
Consequently, I want to advise all the governments of the frontline states to move away communities at risk of inundation, identify safe higher grounds and evacuation of persons, and proposition adequate stockpile of food and non-food items, potable water, hygiene, safety, and security to enable them a fair level of comfort during periods of possible displacement. This action becomes necessary as we collectively work towards a lasting solution to the annual threats of floods.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Clement Nze, says the progression of flooding or loss of lives could be a source of worry, especially as Cameroon most times fail to notify Nigeria whenever water is being released from the dam, despite an agreement reached between both countries to that effect.
233 local government areas in 32 states and the FCT were placed on red alert. So far, we have been following the trend, like I always say, is a bit quite disturbing that the progression of flooding, destruction, loss of life and property have been quite humongous, as if we are being caught unaware.
He speaks on ways Nigeria can effectively make use of fresh water that passes through the territory every year.
We lose over 200 billion cubic meters of fresh water every year into the Atlantic Ocean. We have been advocating conservation, that you can do a kind of channelization, do a kind of construction whereby this huge amount of water passing through your territory, you can divert it some kilometers, go and create another city.
While pleading with governments of frontline states to start preparing for emergencies, NEMA says not heeding to these warnings will make disaster reduction and management very difficult. Georgina Ndukwe, Arise News.
Well, joining us now for more on this is the Director General and CEO of Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Clement Nze. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Well, it's quite worrisome to hear from Georgina's report there that in spite of an agreement between the Nigerian government and Cameroonian authorities, they continue to release their dams without even giving Nigeria a heads up. Exactly why is that? I'd like you to address that. And why really is Nigeria, vulnerable to these floods every year?
Okay, that is quite worrisome that nations go into agreement, and even neighbors, so to say, and we don't live up to the billings with the spirit of the letters. On the 2016, the Cameroonian president was here in Nigeria, His Excellency Paul Biya, and met with his own counterpart here, His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari. And they had an agreement signed, an MOU. And the MOU is predicated on two major structures in Cameroon.
Right.
Cameroon is upstream of Nigeria. The two structures are the Lagdo Dam and then the Lake Nyos. That in the event anything is happening within these structures in Cameroon, that they should notify Nigeria ahead of time. If we may recall, in 1986, August, the Lake Nyos, which is a poisonous lake with weak embankment, exploded, throwing up several cubic meters of poisonous gas into the system, which eventually came down to Nigeria and killed several animals. That was 1986. Now the the Lagdo Dam, which was built between 1977 and 1982 in Cameroon for hydropower, irrigation, water supply, and whatever. And at times they would spill water, like what happened in 2012.
12, yes.
Which was quite devastating. These are things that predicated the MOU that was signed. But unfortunately, they hardly respect the agreement. In 2019, that was the last time they released water before this one of this year. And I was outside the country, I think in Morovia, when I noticed that the river Benue has been rising in Yola, Numan, Uroboki, in Adamawa. Then I began to call them around 29th of October, when rainfall has somehow ceased in the northern part of Nigeria. They said they didn't open their dams. Until much later, 1st of November, they say, sorry, we opened it on the 10th of October and closed it on the 30th of October, 21 days. Wow. That was inundated there. But I'm sure what happened, my minister, Engineer Suleiman Adamu, took some steps to do a powerful memo to our Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs that he should address, giving all the details with the documents agreed upon, to speak with his counterpart in Cameroon as to why this lapses in agreement from their own side. And this one again, being at the heat of rainfall in Nigeria, rainy season in Nigeria, then I kept calling to find out what is the capacity of your dam. Are you going to release water this year? They say no, they're not sure yet, but they will inform us. We kept exchanging messages. I was calling until on the 14th of this month, September 14th. I sent a message to them, please, what is happening? Downstream here in Nigeria, on the Benue sub-basin, we are being flooded. I was told that we opened our gate yesterday by 8:50 a.m. and we are spilling water at the rate of 615 cubic meters per second. So that is what it is. Right. That they hardly inform us. But they are talking about then why is Nigeria always flooded? If you look at what we call Niger Basin, like a Washam Basin, there are 9 countries in that basin: Guinea, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Niger, Benin Republic, Cameroon, and Chad. As for Nigeria is there. Nigeria is at the bottom.
Which actually brings me to the question that, I want to ask. With us being at the bottom, is it safe to say that, what's coming is beyond our control? You've actually talked about the fact that, either one country or both countries are not really agreeing to terms or conditions or MOUs being signed. Is it safe to say what's happening is beyond our control? Now, what sort of measures do you suggest state governments employ to manage the situation, besides a possible evacuation, if things get very ugly?
You see, flood is a natural, it is all over the world, not just Nigeria. Now, with regard to Benue sub-basin, River Benue, Nigeria doesn't have a structure, what you may call buffer dam, that will regulate the flow once Cameroon does anything. They are when Nigeria was quite buoyant then in the 80s, 70s, and 80s when they began to build the dam, and advised Nigeria to do some in their own catchment, so that in the event they open their dams, we will take it over, we will absorb it, and then our own, we began. It was in the 80s. That's in Hausa Dam in Fufure local government in Adamawa. But then the government of that time could not, carry it out.
So with
so once there's a release of water,
yes,
there's nothing you can do. The best you can do, if we are informed early enough, we begin to evacuate people from the bank, those living with certain kilometers within the banks of River Benue.
So is it a little too late? What can we do at the moment? Because it's coming.
The most we can do is evacuation on that axis. But on River Niger, for instance, we have two structures there, Kainji and Jeba Dam. Then with the proper dam management, which we have been doing, the release of water will not be so much that it will distort natural ecosystem downstream in terms of loss of life and property. We are in touch with, like on daily basis, I'm in touch with Niamey, because after Niamey, Niger Republic, before water comes to Nigeria. So I can tell you today what is the volume of water in Niamey that is expected to enter Nigeria. So we don't have much problem in that axis.
Okay, so what you're saying is not like a totally lost case for Nigeria. I mean, in that report, you actually pointed out the need for Nigeria to take advantage of the 200 billion cubic meters. How exactly, in what ways can we take advantage of this water? And what are the long-term measures that we can put in place to ensure that we're not that vulnerable every year?
Well, first of all, the issue of dams, we know, although it could be a huge project, so apart from other uses like irrigation, water supply, can serve basically for flood control. There are major rivers, tributaries of rivers, Niger and Benue, which are very active, that have been helping to cause flooding within rivers, Niger and Benue. Some rivers, if they can put small dams along those tributaries of River Benue, River Niger, it will reduce the volume of water that comes to. For instance, in Katsina River, we have a dam there, Kashimbila Dam. So that one regulates the amount of water that comes from Katsina River into River Benue. If we can have a replicate such a kind of dams on the tributaries of rivers Niger and Benue, it will reduce what is coming in. Then the one I spoke about, channelization, it is a huge resource which we waste down here in Nigeria. When we are negotiating with our other countries, like I mentioned their names, Guinea, Mali, and so on, that they shouldn't take much, because if they take so much, it will affect us than Nigeria. They will ask us, the ones we are allowed to come to you, you don't use it. So if we can do a kind of channelization, we have the Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Niger, Kwara. If we can create a kind of channel, it will convey this huge amount of water. After getting to a certain level, you divert it there, build a big reservoir which can serve you for all year round irrigated agriculture and other uses that you can come along with it, like what we have in Jabi Lake. Jabi Lake is an artificial dam, or lake rather.
All right, well, thank you so much. Really interesting conversation there on how to manage the crisis that's coming. We've been speaking to Director General and CEO of Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Clement Nze.